Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today we are going into the facts of Jupiter Mahadasha. So the Jupiter period, the biggest planet, has 16 years of span. So when I will be quoting references of Jupiter's placement and its results, it will be excerpts from Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, Phaladipika by Mantreshwara, and many other classical texts which I have read for lot number of years, let's say already 3.5 decades. And along with that, going through a lot number of charts, thousands of charts. So we will have done our own estimation. We will have understood that, okay, if this is how it is, then this is what is going to happen. So this is not only because of the planetary placement, it is also because of the lordship of the planet. The importance of the lordship, let us first understand that. So if I take an example of Vrishabha Lagna, that is Taurus ascendant, Jupiter becomes the 8th and the 11th lord. Like usually we say, the 8th lord becomes a hurdle to a person's life. It gives a lot of desires and dreams, lot of anxiety if it does not work, failures or success. All depends on how beautifully or good the 8th lord is placed. The 11th lord once again gives profits. That's not the only name for it, but it also gives travel, it gives sannyasa, that is renunciation, it gives many other things. So the lordship of the planet, that is Jupiter being the 8th and the 11th lord for Taurus, being placed in a particular house, let us say the 4th house or the 3rd house to be precise, 3rd house where Jupiter gets exalted. So if Jupiter is placed in the 3rd house from Taurus, how should we interpret? This is a little complicated to understand. Now, what's happening is that we are disassociating the other factors and taking only one factor as a reference, like Jupiter in 3rd house. Whoever it is, wherever it is, it's not a concern for that particular generalistic perspective. Whoever it is, in the sense that who is Jupiter, whether the 8th lord or the 11th lord, as per the example given for Taurus, or Jupiter is a malefic, a benefic, whether it is exalted or debilitated, what avastha it is in, what status it is in. All that is kept aside and only a generalistic perspective as to what does Jupiter give when it is in 3rd house. That is taken up. We don't even see the nakshatras on which the Jupiter is posted. So all these factors have to be considered holistically, and that is the actual dimension which has to be studied in the higher levels, the advanced levels. So now we are now generalistically speaking in the basics as to what are all the different kinds of effects a person would go through and what results he would get in the Jupiter Mahadasha. So, Jupiter usually, so that is why I use these words usually, maybe. These words are used because we'll not be taking the other factors as I have told earlier. So, Jupiter usually is considered beneficial for materialistic acquisitions, acquiring material benefits, facilities, conveyances, and many gains when it is placed in the 4th house or the Kendra. So 4th house, 7th house, 10th house, and the 1st house are Kendras. Particularly the 4, 7, 10 is now being discussed. The 1st house I will come because it is both the Kendra and a Trikona. It is both a quadrant and a trine, the 1st house. So let us discuss about the Kendras, the 4, 7, 10. And this is with reference to the Mahadasha period of Jupiter, not only the placement of Jupiter. So, the Mahadasha period, a person can start gaining houses, comforts, comfortable life, jewelries, conveyances. So, he is kind of getting elevated in the materialistic level. So, that means he is becoming rich, affluent, comfortable with regard to all these points like loyal servants, good marriage, good business and expansion of business, travels, higher diplomatic positions. So many different kinds of social respect, social responsibilities, and all that which pertains to fame, career, very good jump in career, sudden hike in money, all these things along with overall gains is seen in the Jupiter's Mahadasha when it is placed in a Kendra. So when it is placed in a trine, that is the fifth or the ninth, I'm again not taking the first house. The fifth house and the ninth house gives us varieties of results. Though there might be difficulty if Jupiter is placed in the fifth house for having progeny, because Karako Bhavanashaya works in certain cases for certain ascendants when it is placed in the fifth house. Very strongly it works. In certain cases, it will only give you some delay, but it will not cause any harm. So, Jupiter in the fifth house, particularly the first trine, so there might be some delay in progeny or some losses due to medical expenses for having children. So, this is seen. On a generalistic view for both the fifth and the ninth, higher education, spiritual awakening. See, this is a fantastic thing, the fifth house. Um, Good chanting, the properties of the linguistic properties of how do you pronounce or how do you, the voice, the modulation, the spiritualistic angle with regard to learning scriptures, Vedas, mantras, all that is seen in Jupiter in the fifth house. Spiritual awakening, as I said, pilgrimage, interest in scriptures, astrologies, Veda, or other religious scriptures like the Puranas, many other things. Establishing religious institutions, charitable work. Lot of charitable work is done by people who are having Jupiter in the 5th, ninth, and the 11th. This is a beautiful placement. 5, 9, 11, 12. These people have the mindset to do charity. And, they have a very strong belief over dharma. So, what is dharma? Let us discuss it in 2-minute detail. Dharma, in a very, I'll not call inappropriate, but very near terms called as righteousness or following a set principle which socially will have given a list of, strong tenets which will protect the integrity of the society. I think to some level I have explained what is dharma. Because some in one community a dharma followed in another community may not be followed as a dharma, as a righteous way of living, a traditional righteous way of living. But wherever the person is, in whatever country, in whatever kind of, following whatever religion and dharma don't come together. Dharma is something else. Doing your own job, swadharma paripalana. Doing your own job every day to the utmost perfection, trying to achieve goodness, trying to be happy with people. These are all different kinds of dharma. Which religion does not say this? Every religion asks people to be good to others, good to your own family, good to your community. So that is dharma. So Jupiter in the fifth and the ninth will make a person follow dharma in a very what we call as ritualistic way, and also with the bhakti, that is the belief and the faith. So they would love to take what we call as diksha, or take a good path under a master. They are fantastic pupils, and they will also have fantastic pupils. The ninth is the master, the fifth are the followers. So, where Jupiter is posited, you will have a good master or excellent followers. So, if Jupiter is in the ninth house, you will have very good, masters who will be showing you, mentors who will be showing you the way. That's a great thing to achieve. So, practicing meditation, practicing preaching, practicing excellent higher level of research is also seen in Jupiter's placement in the trine. So let us come to other important positions of Jupiter, because Jupiter is a Karaka for the second, as it is a Dhanakaraka. It is the Karaka also for the 11th for profit. So it is a Karaka for the fifth for progeny, and also Mantrochara, or chanting of mantras. So I have covered two now. I have covered one, the fifth house. I'll come to the other two. The second house, when Jupiter is placed in the second house and the native is going through the Mahadasha of Jupiter, we have inheritance of wealth from ancestors or father, increase in family and responsibilities. But this is a responsibility which the native will very happily do it, because he is so closely attached to the family, and the bond is so good that he will not feel that he is something different from the others. I will just take a pause because of a small fluctuation in the current. Yeah, it's back. So God bless. So, so the increase in family responsibility, that's where I was, and more family members, a big family. This can be seen when Jupiter is in the second house. It's not that it is only the siblings. The second house is Kutumba. Kutumba means extended family also is included. The second house is also for Vaksthana. So people who want to start good business in the this particular period of time of Jupiter, they can get into teaching, tuitions, institutes, and even preaching for people who want to take up preaching as Gurujis. So excellent thing. So Jupiter in the 11th gives gains, because Jupiter anyway is an excellent planet for wealth. The second house is the main Karakasthana for Jupiter, as it is the Dhanasthana. But Labhasthana is also one of the strongest Karakas for Jupiter, because from there it will be aspecting the fifth house, the seventh aspect. It will aspect the third house, which is for Vak, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 3, third house. So this Jupiter will give excellent proposition, for putting up an enterprise like a big educational institution if it is placed in the 11th house. It all depends. See, all these placements depends on the position, aspect, and conjunction, avastha also to be included of the planet. Let us go into the negative aspects now. It's not much negative, but still, when Jupiter hurts, it hurts the most. You should understand the most benefic planet can hurt you the most because it gives you a lot of expectations. And if it doesn't, the fulfillment of expectation is not even near your expectation, then what happens is that you go through a lot of depression because Jupiter cannot take it. It is not a hard planet like Sun, Mars, or Rahu. So Jupiter in the first house, being a trine and a kendra, that is trine and a quadrant, there is a conflict between materialistic afflictions, affiliations, or getting into spiritual mindset. There'll be a lot of conflict, whether do this or that, toggling between both. Mostly it brings a lot of responsibilities, and it will be like a burden if it is malefically posited, and it will be like a service. The mindset will change. So if a person has an excellent Jupiter, exalted Jupiter in the Lagna, in the Karkataka Lagna, being the ninth lord, he will perform his duties towards his parents, thinking that they are God, and it is his, imbibed duty to do it. But I'll give you another example now. That Taurus is the best example. Jupiter in Taurus in the Lagna with a negative planet, like let us say a negative planet like Ketu, which is debilitated there, a Jupiter Ketu in Taurus, a person first of all will not have that great relationship with his own parent because Jupiter is the eighth lord, and if Saturn is weak, then it shows that he will always be cribbing and negative ideology with regard to why is that the whole family's responsibility is on my head, only I should I do it, or what, there are other siblings, why are they not doing all of this? But he will still do it. He will do it because it is Jupiter will do it. But the ideology will be that it is a negative placement for me, it's giving me a lot of trouble in that Mahadasha. So depending on how Jupiter is placed, the perception of a person can vary. Too much of thinking, overthinking, anxiety happens if Jupiter is in the first house and it is badly posited. He will not be able to enjoy the moments of life, which is very important for everybody. Everybody should enjoy a day fully to the fullest. So, thinks very high of himself. So, this is a very tough thing. So, we keep telling that when situations keep changing, like for example, a person was in the Rahu Dasha. He has made a lot of money because of the placement, good placement of Rahu. Then comes the Jupiter Mahadasha. So he will be somewhere up in the sky, in ninth heaven. He will not even think of anybody else. So he will take things for granted. He will not give anybody much of a value, gratitude. These things will all just float away. So it is like a person will lose that ethical value system if it is badly posited in the first house. Over pride, egoistic pride will also be there. We call it as, sometimes people who are highly learned will see low for others who have less qualifications, and they feel that they have achieved Brahma or the greatest of the great. And this is also called as Sattvika Ahankara, Jnana Ahankara. So Ahankara is ego. So Sattvic ego sometimes is because I have done good things. So I am the best person in doing good things. Nobody else can do that much good as I do. That itself is bad. So the negative perspective or the paradigm will come into a person because of this kind of a Jupiter in the first house. So going to the third house, laid back, no action, negative, mostly a dull and inactive person in that particular period of time starts gaining weight, has to be pushed, motivated to get up and be active. So that is how it is. But the third house means walk. Walk is the second house, but the third house is communication. So it means that he can get involved into very good institutions for his, daily Let us say whether it is a profession or it is a side role. So he will get involved into hobby kind of a thing, or he would love to see that he would love that people would listen to him. See, this is more important here. He would want an audience. Whether he is good in whatever he tells people or whether he is good in his advices, that depends on the position of Jupiter. He can become a very good advocate or a judge. But still, if a malefic Jupiter, the third house, he wants attention, he wants audience. If he is deprived of it, he will suffer. And he will get a lot of support from his siblings if it is positively posited, and will have to unnecessarily give support to siblings if it is negatively posited, the other way around. Okay, let us go to the most tough and difficult period of Jupiter. When Jupiter is placed in the 6th, 8th, and the 12th, the Roga, the hurdles, the failures, that is the 8th house, and the 12th house, which is unnecessary expenses, losses, going away from the birthplace, far away into a land where you don't even get good food to eat, or you are like feeling alone. All these are depressing things which might happen in the time period of Jupiter Mahadasha, when it is placed in the 6th house or 8th house or the 12th house from the ascendant in any given horoscope. So, it brings diseases, stress, painful period, anxiety, discord in marital life, breakup or divorce, unexplained illnesses, most probably immune related illnesses where people will not be able to diagnose it, and he'll be unnecessarily running pillar to post only to understand what's happened. So then wasteful expenses as the 12th house, hospital bills, going through problems of fat related medical issues in that particular period. He might get, that the cholesterol, the triglycerides, all that related to the heart, the cardiac, the levels might shoot up in this period. There is a chance that a person can suddenly develop diabetes. So liver problems, kidney problems, heart problems, lipids, these are all seen, in this particular period of time. So when I'm telling it's a tough period and Jupiter is badly posited in the 6th, 8th, and the 12th house, obviously we need to be careful about it. So therapy is needed, particularly yoga. When Jupiter gets tough, the best remedial measure is to do all that which is natural. So like Ayurveda, yoga, mantra japa, these are good. Chanting good hymns, doing meditation, pranayama, particularly pranayama, because Jupiter is both mixed with kapha and vata. It is a mixture of both phlegm and wind. So we need to have a very comprehensive program to get ourselves involved physically, like walking, which is a different thing, but breathing, which walking will burn out a lot of calories, which is very good, and naturally it does that. Breathing exercises which will actually cleanse you with all the negative stressful toxics which have got involved. So this is the best remedy and the only remedy. So
and this is not associated with any dharma.
no, this is not associated with any dharma. Charity is not associated with dharma. Walking, anybody can walk. Whoever has good legs and ankles and knees and the hip can walk. Anybody who is not otherwise to walk, don't do this unnecessarily. So because the other things, like I went to the 8th house now, so the 8th house is like accusation, humiliation, demotion from job, sudden fall from the in the workplace or in the society, even losing the respectable position in the family circles. See, the second is the family, and opposition to that is the 8th. That is where, if Jupiter is badly posited in the 8th house, we are opposing the family. So that means we are getting a bad review in our own family. Second house, very good placement. If it is well posited, good review in family. And if it is badly positioned in the second house, you will not have any association, or you will be far away from family. But you will not be bad with the family sometimes, but you will be in distance. It's like people, from Bangalore going and settling in Seattle because of some IS or information science, some CS computer science work. Where is family for them? That becomes their family. Now they are far away from their real biological relatives and family. So that kind of a thing, which is negative for them. Okay. So there are some situations when Jupiter is in the eighth house and badly posited, that though a person is losing, falling, he gets up and again does the same mistake, goes, lose, falls, gets up and does the same mistake until he will never realize, to a very long extent, a very long term, there will be a lot of struggle, because the mindset will not agree to compromise. They will not agree to accept the fact that, okay, this is not for me, let me leave it, let me live my life. No, they'll get stuck to running behind the horse. So that is a very tough thing when Jupiter is badly posited in the eighth house. So I have given a lot of points here. These points are all for those people who are going through the Jupiter Mahadasha. And please go through the remedial measures for Jupiter when it gives medical difficulties, that is, diseases or other illnesses, in my video for medical astrology and Jupiter. So, thank you very much.
I want to add one
Yes.
point. For the 8th and the 12th, if it is well placed, not malefiting influence, they will have some positive things in their life.
Yeah. All the three, 6th, 8th, 12th, are also having good positive results. Like, for example, 6th house, he will be able to crack the toughest examinations. He will be able to go to a service where he had dreamt for, if it is positively posited. Let us say that Jupiter is posited in his own sign, giving rise to a Viparita Raj Yoga. These are all benefits of the 6, 8, 12. So if it is in the 8th house, he will be very rich. I have done Dhana Yoga where you will have many combinations, with the eighth house being very prominently spoken in Dhana Yogas. So, eighth house, very rich. So, the 12th house, flying abroad to a excellent position or becoming an ambassador in a different country. It's a very prestigious placement. So, very rarely seen, but yes, Jupiter can give excellent results. But there are still other negatives which have to be seen when it is in the 6, 8, and the 12th. Thank you very much for today's class.